Hey, welcome back. It's the Commuters. I have no idea when this video is going up, but happy whatever day it is. Guess what came out, guys?
What?
A new Tarantino movie.
No.
Woo! Yeah,
Are
that's
there
right.
feet in it?
Tarantino?
Yeah.
I'm Spencer, and this is the Commuters with Basil, Sky, Line. Hi, this is the Commuters, and I'm Will, and that's...
No, you're
Guys, this is Spencer.
I need to stop drinking.
He's had a long day. Wow,
Put
you
glass
were...
sound in there.
Anyways,
Wow.
so we are back with video this time. It's been, I think,
Back.
3 weeks since we've
I'm
had
back.
video.
He's
We
back.
go back. I'm back.
Will is back in black, even.
And muted gray.
Well, we're all wearing gray and black. This is a pretty depressing episode. So we're talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the most recent Quentin Tarantino film, coming out to you last month, I think. I don't know. It came out a few weeks ago.
Hey guys,
Just about.
before we get too deep into it, how do you feel about feet?
God damn it.
Oh, wait, Will, you should put your feet on the table.
No!
Yeah.
Tarantino, he likes feet, I guess.
I
So that's
guess,
his deal.
man.
I mean, you know what? Here's the deal. He's not hurting anybody, right? He ain't gonna kill
I don't know, he's hurting my stomach.
Hurt my eyes, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot
Everything
worse
hurts.
things he could be.
I will say though, as soon as Margot Robbie put her legs up in the theater, I got a flashback to when I saw Infinity War. I couldn't watch it because the person behind me put their big stinky feet right up in front, next to the chair next to me, and just
Yeah,
wrote
but
the whole
if
movie.
it was Margot Robbie doing it, you wouldn't have minded.
I would have scooted over, even if it was Margot Robbie.
Yeah, I have to agree there.
Yeah.
I think I
Or
just-
at least
Well,
just
clearly Quentin Tarantino wouldn't have minded.
I think Quentin Tarantino wanted to be that windshield.
Oh, he wanted to be the back of that seat
Stop.
cushion, too. Anyways, okay, so the film.
Want me to put my feet on you while you're driving?
Hey, whoa, I think it's a pretty good movie.
Why?
Wow, do you want me to go in depth already?
Yeah, just
Whoa.
dive right in.
Alright, so for one, I absolutely love the aesthetic of taking place during Hollywood. What was the year again?
69.
Is it
69?
69?
Yeah,
It's considered
You're right. It's 69, and I went nice in the theater when I
During
read
the
that.
war.
the golden age of Hollywood.
I did, yeah. Great time period.
Got
Of course,
it!
We get to follow a wonderful. Would you call him washed up by this point?
Yes.
In his
Yes.
career?
He's
Yeah.
washing up, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Mhm.
Wonderful, wonderful actor. You don't see him as much as I really think we should,
Yeah, this
because
5 years since his last movie.
Really? Was
What
that
was the
The
last-
Revenant?
Yep.
Yeah.
and that was I
Completely different.
absolutely love that movie. I did finally see it. It's really, really good. His performance in this is fantastic, and it's like the standout. It's one of those things that captivated me through the whole film was him and Brad Pitt's performances. They definitely steal the show every single time.
Absolutely.
I felt compelled to follow this interesting story of an actor and his stuntman, even though you don't really get to dive into that part of it. It's more about the other surrounding story regarding some crazy people. It was kind of like a capstone on top of the rest of the plot. It's a lot of factors.
Yeah.
Nothing is central,
Yeah.
except maybe the theming around
I would say-
our main character.
Yeah, him, he's the central focus of the movie, I think. I mean, because especially with the ending,
Yeah.
I think Leonardo DiCaprio's character is the main focus of the movie, and his relationship with Cliff Booth, his stuntman, that kind of is the driving force of the movie.
I will say, too, before I forget, that I was so impressed that they didn't make them fight. There was no actual, under-seated tension between the two.
Oh, the two main characters,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Because, that's the cheap and easy, oh, these are best buds, and we'll make them
But
fight
then they'll
for
really
the
fight
drama.
because Cliff is mad about being the stunt double.
Yeah.
and
One
the
rich is one
underling.
poor.
Yeah, no, it was
I don't know.
buddy up to the end.
He
I mean,
didn't seem like he really cared about
No.
being poor, to be honest.
exactly.
Not at all.
Yeah, he was happy.
If anything,
He had his dog
well,
and-
no, I was gonna say we got that whole sequence where he feeds his dog on top of him getting just some
just the craft, baby.
just craft macaroni and cheese. It tastes like plastic.
It's
But
amazing.
that whole scene was endearing to me because
Guy, our
look at this
sponsors.
guy. He just lives his life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to ever be sponsored by Kraft. Don't sponsor us ever. I will
Kraft,
actually
please
deny it.
sponsor us. I like mac and cheese.
I like cheese.
Cliff Booth, Rick Dalton.
Such good names, actually.
know,
Very,
solid.
very Western too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Accounting for what made Rick famous.
Yeah, they had the exact same kind of just memorable 2-syllable or 3,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
But just that really snappy household kind of memorable name like
Rick
John
Dalton.
Wayne, Dean
Yeah.
Martin.
And it fixes
you
it.
know.
And
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can you name me John Travolta's character's name from Pulp Fiction?
Hell no. But I also
No.
haven't watched Pulp Fiction.
You've never seen Pulp? Okay, I've seen Pulp Fiction 3 times.
I've never
for
seen
the life of me, cannot name that character's name
Okay.
off the top of my head.
never seen it.
I can't remember if they say his name in the movie. And then, like, I don't know. There's something like the names that you're talking about, how just simple and snappy, and it just works. Because I remember these characters' names really well.
Right.
Like they're just so simple. Cliff Booth, Rick Dalton.
Because the Booths were an acting family way
Oh,
back
yeah?
when.
Were
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, John Wilkes was a theater performer, and then his brother...
They made it.
His brother was a theater performer too, who saved Abe Lincoln's life. Or no, he didn't save Abe's life. He saved his son's life.
Yeah, Abe Lincoln.
Trivia.
That's weird.
Abe Lincoln died. I hope. Did you know that?
He had his AirPods in. He couldn't hear him.
It fits the time era, honestly, the '60s, because
Totally.
it's not like today's names, like what's the name?
Zay.
Spencer,
Zendaya.
Oh, dude, there you go.
Zendaya.
Zendaya.
That's an actor.
That's
name.
the one girl from Spider-Man. She
Angelina
plays-
Jolie. I'm just trying to think of names that
Yeah.
are like. I mean, even Brad Pitt, which
That
has
was
like a certain
commonplace.
memorable quality to it, doesn't really sound like these names sound like they fit in the time, and it's like such a small detail, but
Yeah.
you know, Tarantino thinks
Right.
of these things.
To tell you the truth, I can't remember the name of Margot Robbie's character, but I think...
Something.
Sharon Tate.
Sharon Tate.
She's an actress, a real person.
Right.
Yeah, geez, didn't you know?
See, I'm not that big into the whole Manson serial killer fixation that I think this movie did a really good job of not buying into
Yeah.
the whole thing, because you've seen that a shit ton in, like, American Horror Story. You know, they've done their whole thing
Yeah,
with
and,
cult and all that, you know, all of the serial killer Netflix specials and whatever.
Oh
I
my
think
God,
we
so
should
many of them.
save that topic
Yeah,
because
for
it ties into the end of the
but
movie.
I'm just saying that, you know, not having known a lot about it, I still
you had
think
like
that, yeah.
you had like that.
I got to see
Uh,
her as a character outside the connotation of what happened to her, and not remembering her name. I almost think that it wasn't, not that it was intentional, but it's okay because not a lot of people remembered her in the movie either. She,
Yeah.
you know, I don't really think they said her name more than twice. Putting the feet aside where they should have been.
Let's just not put our feet in our mouth, okay?
I was gonna make that earlier. I'm glad you did. But I think it's really cool, that whole scene of her just watching her movie and feeling delighted at every scene, because she's kind of the innocence of acting in this whole movie, where you get to see the top and the bottom, you know, the unrecognized talent who's happy to be there, like his stunt double and Margot's character.
Yeah.
And then you have Rick Dalton, who was at the top and is kind of struggling with his own, not mortality, but
But it's like career mortality.
Exactly.
It's, you
He's
know,
had his 5 minutes of fame, and everyone's telling him that you're going down the drain.
Mhm.
You know.
One thing I loved, I mean, we're talking about like kind of him, he's wrestling with this whole idea of, you know, he ain't the top dog, and there's a scene that kind of like exemplifies the entire like internal struggle he's having is when he's reading the book with the girl.
Yeah, I love
That scene is so great.
So
Like, I mean, the acting
It was
from
beautiful.
freaking Leo is so like next level. Like, oh my gosh. And then like, it's this perfect like, I mean, it's a simple thing. It's like, oh, the book, and he doesn't. I guess he wasn't even thinking about it, and she kind of brings this out of him.
Right.
And he's like, this is my life.
hmm
But I love that.
It was so good. And then right at the end, I think I didn't cry because I'm not a really big crier, but I did kind of well up at the moment where he was sitting in the chair after he threw her on the ground, and she comes up to him like almost Santa Claus-esque and says, you know, that was the best acting I've ever seen in my life. And, you know, he really, really was touched by that. I'm Rick Dalton.
It was a really cool sequence, even though YMS, I believe, brought up a good point that was kind of weird. They didn't just use cameras that were more indicative of that era.
Yeah,
to help-
because they did that earlier. Because every time in this movie, besides that scene when they're showing like stuff from that's
It's
shot,
authentic.
It's authentic. So in the
Right.
beginning, you start with the interview, and it's like you got the aspect ratio, the color, the grain, everything, and then later you see some of his old footage from the things he shot in. Same thing. You have all the grain and the aspect ratios.
But then that scene, for some odd reason, through that whole sequence, we don't have it from that perspective.
Do you want me to tell you why? And this is my theory why.
Yeah.
I also have one, but go ahead.
I think Tarantino was like, we're just going to show the hell off of Leonardo DiCaprio. We are going to they didn't want to have anything to impede the audience looking right at Leonardo DiCaprio.
Exactly.
To make
Plus-
him the best part
Yeah.
of that. That makes so much sense, but I can see both sides of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
I
mean,
understand.
it
Because
would've
it's
been-
kind of like why didn't they do it?
Right. It would have been period accurate, but then we would have been in the perspective of the cameraman behind his camera, because then we're seeing it through that dated equipment of the time, versus being right as, you know, the audience normally is in front of the camera.
Well,
it's like we're there watching from the filmmaker, the director's perspective. You know, we get to see Leo acting as Rick Dalton, acting as Caleb, which, oh my god,
and remember,
he's so talented, man.
One of the biggest sayings in filmmaking is that the camera is your audience. You're putting your audience right here. And I think at that scene, that's the point. He doesn't, like, Quentin Tarantino in the beginning was like, okay, I want you to have this authentic feel of the time, so I'm going to use these aspect ratios and
just to
formats
set
and color.
the era. Absolutely.
But this scene is very, very important for the audience to be right there. So this is you, and you're going to be moving how I say you to move, like the camera moving back and forth.
Right.
And you're going to live through an actor struggling to remember these lines and deliver this and act very well, like in such a like raw, and I mean, just Leo like freaking acting like a bad actor, getting good at acting who's actually good, but like there's so many layers.
Yeah, Brad Pitt's character is probably the most Tarantino character in
the movie. Yeah,
like very, very, very Tarantino. I got the vibe every time he was on screen. Like his whole sequence of where he was at the old ranch, or the old Fields Ranch. Yeah, just like I don't know why, but like something about his demeanor through that whole sequence was fantastic. It's so subdued.
Yeah. Do you know
but
why?
Also so like what?
Why I loved it is it was. Did you notice it was a play on the old standoff in the movies of him trying to make it down to the saloon or the sheriff's office at the end of town, and all along the shops and sides of the town, you know, are people watching him, and you know, hands on their gun. It's like an old western.
Yeah.
He's the cowboy going to go, you know, see the head honcho at the end of the street. And everyone's.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm being totally honest, I got like the vibe like, oh, it's at a ranch and it's like a desert, so you're kind of in there on horses. So there's a little bit of Western vibe, but that kind of like sequence, like saying that now, I'm like, oh,
Even the way it's shot,
sense.
like if you notice, there's a lot of low angles that are like literally by like you can see like you see like hands kind of.
I've seen the movie twice now, and I didn't even pick up on that. Like, that's so great. I didn't even think.
And
about
it's a
It's
great
like-
contrast because
Exactly.
you've got Rick who
plays a cowboy, but he ain't one.
dude.
Yeah, and then you've got Cliff where he's literally, it feels like he's the cowboy. It's a great, even down to the fact that like Cliff is his like handyman at the same time.
Exactly.
Like he handles all his work. He's his chauffeur. He's essentially like
Cliff is kind of like Kato was in the Green Hornet.
That parallel I actually kind of picked up on. It's like he's his driver.
Yeah.
like
they
there's
mentioned
that
the
one.
Green Hornet.
They literally bring up the green. I mean, he's in the movie.
Yeah, I mean Bruce Lee's in there, which I don't really know if I liked that first scene with Bruce because I've never seen Bruce depicted as egotistical before.
That's the point though.
Yeah.
Because it's all in Cliff's head. He's essentially making it's Cliff's character making a mockery of Bruce Lee, rather than actually saying Bruce Lee is this egotistical individual. By the way, did you guys hear that? Oh my God, he's a basketball player.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, he's been really upset about this movie's portrayal of Bruce Lee because they were friends.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they were personal friends, and he feels it makes a mockery of him.
Yeah.
When it's pretty obvious the film is.
It's a mockery of everything that existed at that era.
Yeah, and it's not like pointing finger. I mean, you know, again, the ending even is a mockery in a way of some stuff that happened.
I see that scene, like, I'm like, oh, I can see why people like Bruce Lee's daughter have a problem with this.
I don't know, I thought it was hilarious watching
I
Bruce Lee get
understand
thrown
what.
into a bar.
I don't know, like, and maybe
Bruce
everyone's
himself, if he could watch, I think he would find it funny. Yeah.
Also, supposedly Tarantino said that like he's interacted with Bruce Lee and he kind of struggles like that. Like he said in his experience.
Bruce was such a confident, self-assured person that I think to anyone, like he was talking to Cliff, you know, anyone who thinks that he's faking is going to be convinced of it. And anybody who is, you know, positive that he is as legit as he comes off as is going to think he's, you know, this real zen, almost monk-like character, you know.
There's also this thing too where people are like, because Cliff, you know, he beats him in a fight, but he does, but he doesn't. Like,
it's in his head.
But people, anyways, say like, oh, another argument I've seen is like, oh, well, he wouldn't beat him in a fight, and then Tarantino points out the joke of that argument is, well, it's a fictional character. It's like that saying like, would Batman beat Bruce Lee in a fight? And I'm like, it's a fictional character in the head of a fictional character. It's like he could remember that in any way, like what really happened.
You're like 3 layers down in
Yeah, you're
irony,
from reality.
essentially.
It's
Yeah.
not like the entire point of the
Inception.
movie is
This
that
is just
well, no,
This whole movie is just Inception.
it's
actually,
just
guys.
Inception too. It's got Leo in it.
He's a laid back guy, honestly. With all the shit that goes on with him, he takes it pretty evenly until that one point where at the ranch,
Yeah, it
where
happens.
the flat tire, he's like, "That's my boss's car," and I was like, "Okay, here we go,
Right.
here we go."
Now, do you think he would have had that altercation if it was his car, or
Oh hell yeah!
yeah, if
Yeah.
it was his car, he still would have beat the crap out of the
he
guy?
would have.
I think Cliff would have left. Honestly,
I actually agree with you. I think
Yeah.
Cliff would have changed his own tire.
But
Left.
actually,
I don't know.
thinking about that,
Because Cliff wasn't a
actually agree
prideful
with
man.
that statement. I agree
Yeah.
with that statement.
Cliff wasn't a prideful guy. Otherwise, he would have had the same problems that we were saying
Yeah.
that he didn't. Which was, he would have been, well, that's my car. You better fix that
Also-
because you disrespected me. It was, no, that doesn't belong to me.
Yeah.
I was trusted with this to protect this, and you fucked it up. So you're gonna fix it.
And I guess he knows like his boss's like mood mentality kind of sort of thing. So if something goes wrong, he knows that he's gonna snap.
Something about Cliff strikes me as someone who, while he is pretty like laid back, considering his own like Bruce Lee like vision,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like he's afraid to give someone
No,
Absolutely.
not at all.
business.
yeah.
Though, for
Here's another question too. The elephant in the room,
Yeah.
or on the boat, if you
Yeah.
will. Did Cliff, in you guys' opinion, kill his wife?
Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah, I think he did.
Why do you say so?
It's hard. It's really hard to explain,
Mhm.
but it's got this very. He's explaining it is very hard. If you get
I
what
got
I
a good
mean.
explanation.
I have
for it.
an,
I got a good explanation.
Maybe.
I have a theory about kind of Cliff's whole character, and it's you were talking about he wouldn't do things if it was his own car. Like he wouldn't attack those people unless it was. I mean, even if it was the one dude, and he just punched his face in.
Yeah.
He could have done a lot worse. But Cliff's character is extremely restrained, and like the dog kind of represents that. Like he's capable of killing. I mean, let's just say the fight with Bruce Lee did happen. That's showing like how insanely good this. Like he was a war hero.
Right.
The dude could kill anybody in any room.
He was able to keep up with fast flying fists with Bruce Lee.
Yeah. And so like let's say, and then this dog who's like a murderous, like the dog, but he's completely under his
He's
control.
completely
Completely,
trained, yeah.
completely
A sweetheart,
holding it back.
Yeah. But he
My
can kill someone with the snap of his
It
fingers.
shows
My-
who the alpha is.
Right.
he did kill his wife,
Mhm.
but it wasn't necessarily intentional. He kind of let loose a little bit,
Mhm.
and he was like not controlling his own strength at the level he usually is,
Mhm.
and he killed her.
Right.
And ever since then, he's been more in control of himself, and then maybe he got the dog as like an extension of that
Mhm.
to be more disciplined.
Right. That's a good theory. I like that.
Now I don't want people to hate me on this, but I say he did actually kill his wife because you could see it in his eyes. And who would want to be married to a
Through his
girl?
goggles.
Who would want to be married to a girl who's like,
is this
this is so horrible. Why are you like this? Da da da. Why are we out here? Da 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 da. I mean, if I was married to somebody like that,
You sound like him in the car. On our way over here. He literally was like, "Oh no, you don't want to deal with a girl that nags you."
Well,
that,
we love women.
whammon. But yeah, basically, like I would see why he would kill her. There's just the look in his eyes is like, I've had enough of this shit. Even though as self-restrained as Cliff Booth may be portrayed in the film, that one scene kind of shows his level of where he just can't take it
With
anymore.
Bruce?
No, with his wife.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you this then. The scene after he's done fighting with Bruce Lee, in which was she the director of that film?
She was the stunt coordinator.
The stunt
Yeah.
coordinator. The wife, she comes out and is going. I thought it was interesting that she was Australian too.
Yeah.
New Zealand, but
Was she?
Yeah, fun. It's a very subtle difference in their accents. I can tell these things.
Oh.
Fun fact though, she was the actual stunt coordinator for the movie.
With her yelling at him and calling him a wife killer and really going off on him like that, it was just like how his wife was on the boat. So if he snapped at her and killed her like that, why wasn't he angrier at someone who wasn't even his wife when she was calling him a woman killer and a wife killer and
Because
going off?
Because I feel like that, like, he was married, and he was around that for I don't even know how many years.
Too long, probably.
It's too long, exactly. And he just met her, the stunt coordinator. And it's like,
Well, they asked beforehand. He said, "You know my wife?" And he was like, "Yeah, I know your wife."
But he's not going to kill somebody on a set.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I'm not
he's on
saying
a
they
boat
would
in the
have.
middle of
I'm
the
just
ocean.
saying that, you know.
There's also the
I
fact
don't know.
that sequence wasn't his mind again.
Yeah, the remembering of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Margot Robbie, I think that, like, the main point of Sharon Tate in this movie, like, I've heard a lot of the complaints about her being underused or kind of wasted, which I don't really agree with.
Yeah, me either.
Because I think the whole point of her character is, once you pointed out that she represents the innocence of acting, but it's also a homage. Like, it's paying homage to Sharon Tate, the actress, who never really got to have a career because her life was tragically cut short.
Right.
So the whole movie presents her as she's kind of living this beautiful life and doing, like, she's happy, and she gets to experience like people really just enjoying her art, and she gets to see it, and it's like this really wide-eyed wonder, childlike, like it's very wholesome. You know, that's how I would describe her
And
whole.
she never came off as, you know, even though, you know, she was obviously played up very sexually in the movie, she didn't come off as like sedacious or lustful
not
or
at all.
anything. It was very tastefully done, you know.
Not to mention, every single scene we see with Sharon Tate and then everyone surrounded her is very happy.
Yeah.
It's very laid back.
It's wholesome.
Right.
Yeah, it never feels like that kind of like seedy underbelly you see.
Like
from
rigidity?
Hollywood. Yeah. You don't really get that again, I say seedy because it's like, you know, Hollywood.
The grittiness.
Yeah, nobody's...
The grittiness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
or
too.
just like a horror movie, if it has a happy moment, it always has like underneath the happy moments, there's always like,
Yeah,
oh,
no,
this
there's
bad
no
thing's
undertones.
gonna happen.
Exactly.
I never was like, oh man, here
No,
it
yeah.
comes. I was like, oh yeah,
There's
we're just enjoying this nice party, or she's enjoying the movie and having fun, hearing other people laugh about it.
Yeah, there's
Right.
this one part, there's only one part in the movie that I think serves to be like, oh, there might be something bad happening, and it's when Charles Manson shows up at the house.
Right.
That's the only scene in the movie, but even then, it's not really an interaction between him and Sharon Tate.
Yeah, it's more of just kind of an Easter egg of what's to come
Yeah.
later on.
Yeah.
You know, and they always referred to him as, you know, Charlie at the ranch, the estate.
He's gonna dig you.
Charlie would love you.
No, she says Charlie's gonna dig you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
They hippies.
Like digging a grave.
Anyways, so Sharon Tate, like, it's played off in this very tasteful manner and, like, as respectful, I think very respectful to the actress. And to such an extent that, like, you know how they did the flashback with Steve McQueen, or not Steve McQueen, but the movie Great Escape, and they put what's-his-face into the movie. They put Leonardo DiCaprio into the Great Escape seamlessly. Like, I was like...
I was so impressed by
What?
all of their edits with that.
But the point is, they put him in the Great Escape, and they edited those other, like, old movies like FBI and stuff, and they put him in that movie. But when they did Sharon Tate, they didn't put Margot Robbie in her movie.
Right.
They just used Sharon Tate. And
Which
I think...
it's respectful.
Right.
It's just great. I noticed that immediately. I was like, oh, that's definitely not Margot Robbie. That's, you know.
Yeah.
So I didn't know a whole lot about the actress's situation or any movie she'd been in or anything like that. But it was very good.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that weird kind of like, you're like, I respect that.
And it was totally, you know, a swan song to her career, having Margot Robbie and the rest of the audience just laughing at all these bits and really enjoying her performance as an
Clapping
actress.
along with
Exactly, yeah. You know, it was really cool because it allowed Sharon Tate to have that second 5 minutes of fame in the spotlight, you know, which she was denied.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
she
more.
made it into a big film now.
Yeah.
You know.
But, yes, so ending of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So, I was thinking about it, and, you know, I finally saw The Shining. I've seen Kill Bill. I've seen, a lot of other...
What does The Shining have to do with
No,
this?
he's getting to it.
He's
I'm
like,
leaning into it. I mean, I've seen a bunch of Quentin Tarantino movies, and, you know, yes, they all have gore. Yes, they do. But this... I don't know about this, but this ending just made me want to, like, close my eyes and, like, look away.
It was brutal.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
It was so gory. I felt uncomfortable watching it. You know, when when Cliff bashed that woman's face in with the food can, and then she was screaming in pain, and with the dog attacking her, and all of a sudden you just hear her screaming.
I must have seemed like the biggest psychopath in the theater, but I was laughing my butt off. That
Really?
whole scene.
Same here. Same here.
I gave a couple chuckles.
I thought he was done for because he smoked that acid
I
soaked
know
cigarette.
that. I know.
He was fighting him off like a stunt double, like he was fighting Bruce Lee on an acid trip.
One of the scenes that actually I enjoyed was when Rick was pulled out his flamethrower.
Yeah.
She was in the pool. That part killed me.
That was awesome.
That part killed me.
I was like, he still has it?
Yeah. I was like, he's
man.
totally
That
stole
part
that from the
killed
set.
me.
The best use of Chekhov's gun in the history of a movie anywhere was them setting that up in the beginning of the movie and then paying it off. Because I just thought it was going to be like a random... Because the thing with Tarantino is there's a lot of random things in his movies. Like, you're like, oh, it doesn't really play into the larger plot. But that little thing... Like, I thought it was just going to be the joke of him. He's like, is there any way to make it less hot? And he's like, oh, it's a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Right.
And then at the end, he comes out holding a flamethrower.
The ending was... I liked it, but it was way too like slasher-esque to me. It was too much.
Right.
It was too much for me to handle.
Now, I think the reason why they went with such a gory take on that was to parallel the
actual
gory
events.
killing.
The actual events that happened.
You know, it was almost kind of retribution, almost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on screen of these people did this really brutal,
Like revenge,
unspeakable act. Yeah, it was revenge on screen because you got to see the killers get mutilated.
There's a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of layers to that. For example, like, he, the one member of the Manson family that came in, he gives his line, the whole
I'm the
spiel.
devil.
I'm the
Here to
devil.
do the
And,
devil's
and,
work.
and literally Cliff is like...
Yeah, he just laughs.
he just takes it as the stupidest thing he's
Because
ever
he was
heard.
asking what you say your name was, and he said, "I'm the devil, here to do the devil's work."
No,
and he goes,
no.
"No, it was stupider than that."
They're making fun of these people that committed this horrible act. It's kind of like look how low these individuals are.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like,
It's
in the moment.
it's a Hollywood. It's a happy ending in the sense that it's like. I mean, have you all seen Inglourious Bastards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
The end of Inglourious
Yeah.
Bastards. It rewrites history. They kill Hitler. They kill pretty much the entire Nazi high command.
Right.
And it's done in such like they're burning, they're shooting them.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's comfortable in a sense that it's like.
We're watching
There's
bad
nothing
things
not
happen
to-
to bad people.
But yeah,
so
the
it's
people
okay.
who've done
Yeah,
some
so
of the worst crimes, like I'm not gonna say that the Manson crimes live up to, but the
They were
point
just
is,
as brutal.
but they were disgusting and brutal and completely on completely innocent people who did nothing to these people and
I
nothing
think that's
to
where
anybody.
it comes from. Is it was an unspeakably brutal crime to innocent people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then to have these people get the shit kicked out of them
by a man that's high
Yep.
on acid and his dog.
Dude, I tell you what, the
That
fact when he
was
goes to his dog and he's just like, and the dog,
I know.
Because he hadn't eaten
Got him by
beforehand.
the
He was still
balls.
hungry. Yeah.
and then oh dude, I
got
was
his kill.
okay. I was laughing so hard when he threw the can at the girl's head.
Oh yeah.
I don't.
Just fucking pushed her nose back into her sinuses.
I really liked the actual scene after that whole situation where Rick's like, he,
Finally meeting his neighbors.
yeah, he meets his neighbor
Once
for the first
upon a time in Hollywood. That's the point of the movie.
Yeah.
Got this
Yeah.
happy ending.
but
He meets his neighbors, and then it's like
this isn't just like a turning point in like it. Yeah, we've gone into an alternate history, and we've also like it's. Do you remember what he said regarding at the very beginning of the movie? He's like, I'm living right next to.
Yeah.
The hottest Polish director
Yeah,
right now. And
yeah.
He's
And-
like, I'm one dinner party away from starring in his next blockbuster.
Well, yeah. He's like, I
Yeah.
could be pool partying with Polanski.
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
He's kind of gotten it.
Yeah.
This is going to lead into that. His career could take off again.
that's the point. And
Yeah, it's crazy.
the last shot of this movie is one of my favorite shots of like any Tarantino movie. Just the driveway, he goes into the house, and then it just does these like 60s style credits over the thing, and like that's so period accurate to do like credits that way. I mean, they also have the dots going from the names and stuff. I was like, oh, that's so great. But it's just like such a happy like. I mean, because I thought the movie was going to end with the Manson murders.
Yeah.
I thought that's how the movie was going to end, and I thought it was going to be like sad or something, or I don't know what was going to happen. I did not expect a happy ending though, and it was
Yeah.
like
Right.
such a just wholesome like. It,
But instead, he gets to have a cup of coffee with the Folgers heiress.
yes,
It's crazy.
nice.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, just a reminder, Rick. when he was talking to his neighbor. They're like, "What happened?" He's like, I don't know. Just some hippies broke into my house.
His hatred towards hippies killed me.
He's like,
killed them too.
oh, he's like, everyone okay? He's like, well, the
hippies
sure
are.
are. I can tell you that much.
Another thing too about Cliff's, just to go back to the, question of whether or not he killed his wife. I don't think he killed his wife because of the scene where she's offering to perform fellatio on him during the ride to that ranch, and he's asking for her ID, and she says, "You're the first person to ask me that in a long time." And he literally, after she, tries to tell him that she's legal, goes, "Let me see some ID, because I am not going to jail."
Yep.
Because he talked about that time in Houston jail, working a chain gang in August, and he said that was the last time I decided I was going back to prison. And I guarantee that happened before he was married.
Yeah.
So either that's an homage to I sure as hell wasn't getting caught killing my wife, or I sure as hell wouldn't have killed my wife.
Anything else?
I do have a closing statement.
Mm-hmm.
Tarantino represents a lot of what I love in movies. Mostly in the fact that he's able to take something that's like so terrible, and make me have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it's really weird. You mentioned I've never seen Inglourious Bastards. You made me want to go see it.
Dude, you gotta watch
I
it.
It's
need
a
to go
good
watch
movie. I just watched it like 2 days ago.
Same.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I haven't seen every Tarantino movie, but I know, like, he just somehow makes, like, things that shouldn't be entertaining. In the way that
Entertaining.
I shouldn't have been laughing at the way 3 people just got brutalized. I did, though. Especially when one got hit with a flamethrower. That's,
Oh, yeah.
Jeez. He just really represents, like, everything I love about movies. Like, the creativity that we don't get
Right.
every other day.
One thing I do want to say before we cap it all off too is the music and the sound design of this movie.
Talk about that.
It was like a pure nostalgia drip to my brain because I've seen so many different 60s and 70s old TV shows and movies and westerns especially, and the music, man, it took me right back. It was taking me to a place in retro golden age cinema without having to do any kind of nostalgic dated camera tricks whatsoever. Just doing a different styling of music was enough to bring me back into that time frame that they were really trying to evoke.
So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the 9th movie by esteemed director Quentin Tarantino. I loved it. I've seen it twice. So no, I'm kidding. I've seen the movie twice, and Sky can jump off a moving vehicle. I liked it more the second time actually, which I didn't think I would because it's a long movie, and you need to know it's a long movie I think going in because that could take away from it if you expect it to not be as long as it is. And I think the first time I went in, I kind of didn't expect it to be as long as it was because I didn't check the runtime. I was just like, oh, I'll just go see it. And then I was sitting there for a while. I was like, oh, this is still going.
Right.
But then the second time when I knew how long it was going and stuff, I'm in my mind in the ending, knowing what happened and stuff, it kind of helped me like look at it in a more appreciative level. I could probably watch the scenes with Leo, like his acting scenes, like 7 or 8 more times, just like to see how deep that dude goes in his acting. It's just next level, and he deserves an Oscar for this. Anyone who disagrees with me can go make their own TV show.
Jump off a moving vehicle, as you said.
Yes.
This one takes the cake for me, honestly. I enjoyed it, except for the ending, But I enjoyed this movie. It was very, I love the cars that were in it. I
was gonna ask.
I loved all the old cars in there. That was awesome. This movie could have been a little shorter, but hey, they put a lot into it, and I really appreciate what they did with it. And it kind of gives you a more wholesome, more wholesome appreciation towards Hollywood and what they do. I would say, with all the actors, with what they go through and stuff like that. And, even though this movie did take place in a really bad era, in the 60s, with, war going around and the hippies going around.
It was turbulent.
It wasn't a fun time.
No, it was turmoil.
But it's good for movies, though.
It was, but I would say watch it. It's a very good movie, and yeah, just go watch it.
You've heard of director's commentary? Get ready for humdrum nobody commuter commentary.
Did you call me a nobody?
I did.
Who are you?
Oh, well, you're not wrong.
So, for my recommendation, I would definitely say watch it. 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. That being said, I think If you wanted to show it to somebody who
Ignore it.
doesn't want to see the gore at the end, like Will, the moment at where they're about to skip forward 6 months in everybody's lives, you know, when they go to Italy and do all the different spaghetti westerns, you could stop it right there on the 6 months later, not watch any more, and it's completely family friendly for the most part. I mean, aside from the language and whatever.
Yeah.
From that point forward, you can show this to absolutely anybody you want, and if they don't mind a little bad language, it's going to be a good movie. And then after that, it's just icing on the cake. You know, it's a resolution of an otherwise grim occurrence in history that has a happy ending.
Yeah.
You know, it's storybook. It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Hi. It is a little long. I didn't know it was that long either when I said it. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was a horrible day for me too.
Oh, yeah.
So like, when I got out, I also ended up losing like, I lost a bank card.
Oh.
And I never got it
Oh,
back
yeah.
the same day from the theater.
Oh.
And then I got especially pissed because they told me, they're like, we can't let you go back in and look for it. They're like, you gotta wait 3 hours and then
Yeah.
I'll call you after we've looked
Dude,
for it.
that's-
And I'm like, that's stupid. Thanks.
That
Thanks,
happened.
Cinemark. Well,
Oh,
regardless,
nice.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a great movie. It's a good time. I mean, I love Tarantino. This is him too. And I check out a lot of other people that have talked about it because like YMS had a really good perspective. I think
Yeah,
on
that's
this
your
film.
movie sucks.
Yeah, go check out Your Movie Sucks.
Red Letter Media did a good one of it.
I didn't watch theirs yet.
It's
It
very
was really good.
Was
I
it?
liked it.
Yeah, definitely. I actually had to kind of watch that. I think spreading your kind of like perspective helps generate your own feelings.
Yeah.
Sometimes because there was a lot. This is one where I was actually unsure if I would have anything to add because it's one of those weird cases where like. Honestly, Tarantino's artistic integrity is like so high above my ability to comprehend sometimes,
Dude,
which is the weirdest thing to say because I know like it's not.
I understand you.
If you get
Absolutely.
it's like I was like,
Nothing happens in a Tarantino movie by accident, and that's something I respect the hell out of the guy for, because that's what makes the most like the best movies. And even though you might not like a Tarantino movie, like most of the time they hold up like they're for a long time. Like they're a lot of his movies are timeless, and it's impressive. So now I get to recommend a movie for next week. Basil gets to recommend.
all
a
right,
movie.
Let's see.
I
gonna be
waited
Interstellar.
so long.
I'm
and
excited.
It's not Interstellar.
Oh.
I'm actually recommending The Prestige.
Ooh.
It is another Nolan film, and it takes place. He shot it before Dark Knight, but after Batman Begins. It was his first kind of bigger budgeted movie he got to do using his creative things. It's about a magician, and it stars Christian Bale from Batman and Hugh Jackman.
Oh.
It's
I love the
very.
Hugh Jackman.
I want to say a whole lot going into it because I want you to experience it.
I've never seen this, so
Yeah.
this will be interesting.
Yeah, have you seen it?
It's on my list.
Okay, good.
So three of us are
Perfect.
coming in fresh.
That's what I want. So,
Great, we're gonna hate it and we're gonna look down on you, basically.
Yeah, I know.
How did you not like Ready Player One, but you like The Prestige?
How did you like Ready Player One, but not
Right,
like
right,
Interstellar? Anyways,
How do you like
I
Kraft
loved
mac and
Interstellar.
cheese? Really though.
He's got you.
he
He's got
does.
you in his vice grip.
But I don't even eat Kraft mac and cheese. Anyways,
What do you eat then?
it's. Thanks for
Okay.
watching the Commuters
Viewers,
podcast.
he doesn't want to tell us what he eats.
Come watch us next week
He
as we
puts
talk
ketchup
about
on everything.
probably mac and cheese, but maybe some movies too.
And The Prestige.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.